So today we're going to be going over 10 of the best purchases you could make as a complete fragrance beginner. So if you are someone that's new to the hobby and you're trying to figure out what you should be purchasing up next, this obviously will be the perfect video for you. But even if you're not new, even if you've been at it for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years or however long, you might even still find this video useful in one way or another, or at least entertaining. Because there's hobbies that I've been in for years, heavily interested in. And every time there's a topic about things to get into as a beginner or just the basics of that hobby, I still click on those videos or those articles because I'm curious to see if I have all of those or not. And oftentimes I don't. So maybe you'll find some new things in here that you've been holding off on and you finally decide to pull the trigger on. So these are mostly going to be beginner level scents, nothing too daring or too challenging, but there are going to be some things in here that are a little bit more interesting, while still maintaining a nice, safe, approachable scent DNA. And so I will link these down below so you can pick these up if you have any interest in them. I also have a mailing list you can sign up to at the first link down below. If you're on the hunt for some rare, hard to find, discontinued things, or just some of the best deals that you can get, you're going to want to get on that list. Anytime something comes up, I send out an email first. I post on my community tab second. So email does take priority, and you'll be able to get some amazing things for low prices. Let's get things kicked off with Gucci Guilty PARFUM Pour Homme. So, pretty standard here. This line is well known at this point. Gucci Guilty Black is a pretty decent price. It's still expensive, but actually the quality and everything about this one does hold up to that price in my opinion. Has juniper, orange blossom, patchouli, and woody notes going on in here. It's going to be aromatic and fresh and with a little bit of the sweetness, and then overall this really unique texture about it that makes it stand out among everything else in my collection. I can stack this up against everything by itself and nothing is going to smell quite like this, and I think that's pretty cool. So in a way it can be perceived as basic or boring because it's very likable and very easy to get along with, but again, when you break it down and you just kind of smell this one and you see what I'm talking about, there's just nuances about this that really are different. It makes this one stand out big time. I've been talking about this one for a while, ever since it first came out. I loved it, still do. I think it's a great scent that is definitely worth having around, and it's a great one to start out with. Next up, we can go with something like Acqua di Gio Eau de Parfum, so one of the newer releases from the line as well. I love this stuff. Now, it's got orange, sea notes, no surprise, right? There's going to be some aromatics in here like sage, and then also mineral notes. And so the way I've described this one is it takes some nuances from Profondo, and of course takes some nuances from the original Acqua di Gio EDT, and even little bits and pieces of Profumo in the base, a little bit of a kind of a heavier aspect in the dry down from this one, kind of similar to Profumo, mineral notes and that type of texture and smell from Profondo, and fresh Acqua di Gio DNA. But another way I like to describe this one is that it's Acqua di Gio Eau de Toilette all grown up. That one is still a scent that can be pulled off by anyone, anytime. It's classic, it's timeless. But this one does smell a little bit more mature, more refined, and just a little bit more complete, so to speak, at least compared to everything else out there on the market these days. So if you want a more mature version of Acqua di Gio, if you want a little more of a grown-up version, even more of a unique and interesting version of Acqua di Gio, the Eau de Parfum is a great one to pick up. This will be liked by so many people, you just can't go wrong with it. Next up, we have Montblanc Explorer. It's a nice Creed Aventus clone action going on here, but what I like about this compared to so many of the other clones on the market for Aventus, because as you guys know for a fact, there are a ton of Aventus clones out there. This really is Aventus, but with a designer twist. Now, don't get me wrong, Creed Aventus and its clones that are very close to it are super mass pleasing. They're great compliment getters, right? That's one of the main reasons why Aventus has gotten so much traction over the years. Okay, but it does have some of that sweetness from the pineapple, that birch, some of the smokiness depending on old bottles of Aventus, and also just clones that focus on that smokiness. The newer bottles now are much more fruity and fresh, but still there are nuances that are going to be more niche-like. This one kind of takes everything and it rounds it out, it smooths it out. So for some, this will be a more boring version of Aventus, but for a lot of people, it's even more versatile and it could be even more mass-pleasing. Again, it's designer Aventus is how I would describe it. And I think it's a great scent and it does a lot for a pretty low price, anywhere from $40 to $50 on discounters. You can get testers for a little bit less, and I'm not sure of the cap situation on those, so you would have to look into that yourself because I can't think of it off the top of my head. But still, regardless, cap or no cap, tester or no tester, it's an affordable one that's a great compliment getter, and again, most everyone is going to at least like how this smells. Next up, we have MISSONI Parfum. So this one has grapefruit, it's got lemon, some birch in here. Kind of gets compared to Bleu de Chanel, but it is different. Bleu de Chanel is a great scent. This one's also a great scent. Even more woody, a little bit more sweet, less kind of grapefruity and smoky like Bleu de Chanel. It just doesn't have that same type of thing going on, but it is still incredibly versatile. Very easy to pull off in a whole bunch of situations for you. Most everyone's going to at least enjoy how this one smells. I mean, this is not the type of thing that's going to be super daring or challenging, which is kind of what we're looking for. And it's going to separate yourself from a lot of what everyone else is wearing to some extent, which is pretty nice because most people aren't going to know of this. This isn't going to be on their radar. And, that's definitely a plus. And again, price point on this, $45, somewhere around in there. You get a nice magnetic cap and custom presentation. I don't believe there to be any other bottles like this one out there, so it's not like a stock bottle or just super widely produced bottle. It's pretty custom presentation. Stands out, looks cool, it's affordable. There's so much to like about this one. Next up, we go with Y Eau de Parfum. Now, you could go with Le Parfum, fantastic. You could even go with the new Eau de Parfum Intense, which I've already said to you guys, I've been wearing it a ton, and I still have been. Just yesterday, if not the day before, I did wear it out in the evening. I don't know why that one has resonated so well with me, but it has. It's basically this DNA right here with the sweetness brought back and the aromatics brought forward even more. It's even more mature. Now, that again could be a great choice, but I think for beginners, especially younger guys out there, this will probably be the one that you'll be more interested in first, and from there you can branch off into the other flankers. But when you take a look at price point, performance, compliment factor, versatility, the Eau de Parfum is still hard to beat to this day. And it is a little bit more expensive on discounters, usually up over $100, just barely over it for 100 ml. And so, not affordable by any means, but you get what you pay for, and you are getting a product that ultimately is a great investment and that you will get a ton of use out of and have great results from. Next up, we have Hugo Boss Reversed. So this one has grapefruit. It's got vetiver and rosemary in here. I've been loving this for years. You guys can go way back on my channel, see me doing a review out on it, featuring it in tons of videos. My fiance loves this one as well. It's another affordable one, kind of a trend here in this video, somewhat. I kind of tried to focus on a bunch of different price ranges, everything from affordable to a little bit more premium depending on budgets. This is another $40 scent, 100 ml. Great price point, and that's kind of one of the better price points out there, 40 to 50, because you're not getting something that's cheap. It's not going to feel cheap because that is kind of a perception that we as humans have when you pay $20 for something versus $50 or $100 for something. Even if the quality is the same, you feel like it isn't. Okay, that's very common. That's that's just how it is, or it's how most of us are anyway. And so this is right there in that price range of it's not cheap, it's not super expensive, it's just nice bang for your buck. That's where this one falls. Now, it kind of has an Elysium feeling to it. I've said that since the beginning, and then people take and run with it saying that it's an Elysium clone. I've never said this was an Elysium clone. Still very much different, but it focuses heavy on the grapefruit and the vetiver, of which Elysium uses a ton of, along with an ambroxan ambergris accord that's not listed in here, but you do pick up on it, and same deal with Elysium. In the same vein or ballpark, yes. Clones, no, but it will kind of give you a similar result if you are on a budget. Next up, gotta have Wanted by Night. So this one has tobacco, cinnamon, and fruity notes here. Another one of my favorites that I've been rocking for years. Smells fantastic. Nice fruity, sweet, a little bit smoky. And this one's kind of interesting because it has some different nuances coming together. You know, it's a wintertime scent with tobacco and cinnamon, but then you're also getting a ton of fruity notes, and it kind of adds this sweeter type of freshness in some instance. Definitely not a fresh scent, but you kind of understand what I'm saying here. Generally, you don't see winter scents with a ton of bright fruits, you know, so this one kind of is doing something a little bit differently here, which I do admire, and I think that also adds some versatility to this one to where you could kind of extend this into the spring season and even start on it early in fall or very, very late summer when it's cooling off in the evenings. You can just get a lot of use out of this stuff. It's affordable as well on discounters, usually around $50, 100 mil. Great compliment getter, great quality, just all around a must-have. So I was talking about Bleu de Chanel earlier with MISSONI Parfum. Now, next up, we do have something that really does actually smell like Bleu de Chanel. And you gotta have something that smells like Bleu de Chanel, whether it be the Chanel itself, or if you don't wanna spend well over $100 plus at retail, and depending on if you get the Parfum, 150 plus, right? They get expensive. You could just get something like this, Al Haramain Amber Oud Blue Edition. So very important, Blue Edition. I'll show you quickly. There is a difference, guys, between Blue and Blue Edition. This is Blue Edition, Bleu de Chanel clone. There's also Amber Oud Exclusive Blue, which is a Parfum. That's a latent clone. Eau de Parfum, Blue Edition, Bleu de Chanel, Exclusive Blue, Parfum, latent. I feel like I explained that a lot, but you have to make sure you know what you're getting here because it's easy to mix these up. It's a little bit confusing, and I don't think it's the best idea for these clone brands to do this, but they just don't care, and so they're going to continue to do it anyway. So you got to watch out and make sure you know what you're getting. So yeah, Bleu de Chanel, it's very cut and dry. I mean, you cannot mistake this for Bleu de Chanel. It's got that grapefruit incense type of deal going on off the top, musky, kind of woody in the dry down. It's clean, it's fresh, it's classy and upscale and elegant, and everything about Bleu de Chanel that you love is in here for a much more affordable price. Yeah, price per mil is going to be a little bit higher compared to some other clones out there, but you still are saving money. And if you can get another fragrance or two by going for this and then having that money left over to get a couple other things versus blowing it all on a bottle of Bleu de Chanel, for a lot of guys, that's the way to go. Next up, almost done, we have the one Eau de Parfum. Yeah, that's how they look when they're almost empty. I don't know. I've showed you guys this before, but if you're new to the channel, if you couldn't tell, I love this stuff. Without a doubt, one of my favorite designer fragrances ever. And realistically, I've worn through an entire bottle. This one is, again, there's a little bit left, but I've also have a couple other bottles of the one Eau de Parfum that I've worn through as well. Just different older bottles. This one I believe is a 2015 because I got it like when it first came out. It's kind of hard to see. 5121. 5121. So, you know, you can run that batch, but I'm pretty sure it's just about as close to the beginning as you can get. And again, I have some like a 2017. I've just got a couple others. And so collectively, I've worn through an entire bottle and then some probably as well. But again, it's one of my absolute favorites. I wear it in the evenings a lot, just at home or going out, whatever. But it's one that if you're wanting to start diving into some sweeter scents rather than sticking with the freshies, this would be a great place to start. That tobacco amber combination is absolutely stunning. And we're going to end this video with Stronger With You Only by Emporio Armani. So this one is essentially going to, for now, take the replacement of Freeze, which they've discontinued, and that was the fresher one. Now this one's fresher than Stronger With You, the original, and intensely and absolutely, but it's not as fresh as Freeze. So a little bit of a kind of, I don't know why they did it this way, but they did. So this one has vanilla, it's got chestnut, very common notes, and grapefruit. So a little bit of that grapefruit pop off the top that you don't get from the others, essentially, not talking about Freeze, but just the main ones. But you're still very much getting that chestnut gourmand smell, that vanilla and everything else that you know in the DNA. But it is ultimately freshened up and lightened up, and that does make it significantly more versatile and even more mass-pleasing because intensely, absolutely, they're great compliment getters. I'm sure you guys have had great success with those, but because they are so sweet, you will find people who naturally just don't care for them. And this one kind of is able to branch out and hit on a bunch of different styles and just ultimately appeal to a lot more people. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 10 fantastic purchases as a new beginner to the fragrance collecting world. Links will be down below. Deals will be on my mailing list and my community tab, but mailing list does take priority. Anything rare and hard to find that you may be looking for, I'm looking for it too, and anytime it comes in stock, I let you guys know. It's completely free to sign up. If you get on it and you spend too much money and you need to stop, unsubscribe from the mailing list. You can resubscribe at any point when you want to start shopping again. No hard feelings there. Do what you got to do. Subscribe, then unsubscribe, then subscribe again, whatever. Make it work for you, but it is a tool that is available to you for free. It's free to sign up. You have to buy the fragrances still, but if you want to get that stuff at the best deals possible and get some amazing rare things, that's the place to be. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.